You're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Look! There comes one of them now!
Yes, my name is Bill Hinzman, Night of the Living Dead's zombie #1, and filmmaker. What zombie-related films have I done? Well, Night of the Living Dead, of course, and Flesh Eater is mine. As a cinematographer, shot lots of films, but those are the two that are zombie-related. The rest are mostly action, mostly action films, horror films of different types, slasher films, or that stuff.
I'm sorry, I've just been through these questions so many times. I'm trying to find one that are still appropriate.
I met George in 1962 when he started a company called Latent Image, and I joined up with him as a still photographer. But as the years progressed, I became his DP and cinematographer. Principally, that's shooting and lighting. Stayed with George until '72. Had a pretty good relationship with George. He was my best man at my wedding, and I married George's secretary and Girl Friday. And still have a good relationship with George as a great guy. I've got a lot to thank him for. And I'm married and have a wonderful wife, and my daughter is working in films out in LA as a Directors Guild card. And so I'm pretty satisfied in life, have a good time. And teaching film school for Tom Savini. And what else? Well, I can credit all my film work to George in the early parts. But I was a still photographer when I met George. So I was pretty well the most technically trained photographer there at the time. So I think, I don't know if I would have gotten into movie films. I certainly was into photography already. And I think at some point, if I had not met George, I still would have gotten into shooting films. When I left George, at the time I started a company with another friend of mine, Dave Gordon. We were doing educational films, documentaries. The educational films were for schools, and for police, and for hospitals. And in '87, I decided to make a feature film. And met somebody that wanted to do one, so I did majorettes and I got back into doing feature film. And then the year after that, we did Flesh Eater. And then continued shooting films for other people, and always doing that. And I think if there's a lot of positions that can be filled in filmmaking, and now it's video, that don't have anything to do with feature films. Whether it's the educational field, the medical field, but there's a lot of films out there to be made that have nothing to do with educational films. I mean, with feature films. I made most of my money not from feature films, but the educational films. Much more lucrative over a period of time. Flesh Eater was a low-budget film. A millimeter. I had all the equipment and so forth to do that. And then I raised the money from friends and family, and it was very successful. It was distributed by Cinevest first, and I made it a point when I got a contract to do the majorettes plus Flesh Eater that if something happened to the company that was distributing it, the film would come back, the rights of the film would come back to me. So when that company, Cinevest, went out of business, I was able to, in 1999, have another company pick it up, and once again made some money off of it, and it's creating its own little cult out there for people, and they come in and say they love it. It was a lot of fun. And I set out to have a lot of fun doing it. As they say, tits and ass and blood and guts. You know, it was always fun, especially in the 80s. And it's still going. The film's still going. And I hope someday to make a part 2. And hopefully it won't be too long if I can do that. Because they're scared. A zombie can be your next door neighbor, or your brother or sister, or your child, and once they eat you and kill you, you know, that's scary. That's scary shit. And I think that's why it's always scary. Whether they move fast or crawl or whatever. You know. I love them. If it wasn't for the fan base, we wouldn't have a classic movie right now. You know. They made it a classic, not us. We didn't make it a classic.
Yeah, he moved his store.
It's all
I first
the fan
met him at a store in Montclair.
that did
I
it.
think maybe you met him in Montclair.
Just that I'm very, very proud to have participated in it and still participate in it. And very proud. I tell some of my students when I'm teaching the film that what other business can you be in that you can maybe make a small mark in the history books and create a classic film, a classic piece of work. It's a wonderful feeling to be involved in the industry. And I try to tell that to my students, just to have that chance to make a mark, not disappear from the earth and nobody ever remembers it. Night of the Living Dead's going to be there for years and years and years and years, and that's me up there. That's pretty damn neat. Nice to live with. I have some trepidation about making classics nowadays on video, but I think if you take the time and have the talent and the ability to use the video the right way, you can still make a classic.
And it grew from there.
But it's going to be harder,
First show we
I
only
think,
had 4 guests. And
to make a classic the way they're doing production
that was
now.
under renovation. The floor was slanted.
Being there teaching it, I have a problem with everybody wanting to do things post-production, not getting it right the first time.
But it was a huge
But
success right from the very
I think it's still going to be able to happen. I just want to say, I'm a cinematographer. I'm better behind the camera than I am in front of it. And the acting is different. Acting is when you have a part to play. You are the part, and you lose that nervousness as far as I'm concerned. But everyone's trying to be normal and talk straight in interviews and so forth. Better behind the camera than in front. In this industry, the thing that Night of the Living Dead is not my greatest achievement. I worked with Orson Welles, was able to hire Orson for a narration, and probably the proudest moment as far as meeting people in the business. Filmmaker #1, Orson Welles. I worked with Stephen King also, which I think is one of the big guys. But my biggest achievement is my daughter working in LA, becoming a filmmaker. And I have a brother-in-law that I brought into business, who was also in LA and big-time assistant director. He's directed his own films. That's a pretty great achievement to leave a mark, besides Night of the Living Dead. I think one time, never moved out of Pittsburgh. I had chances to, of course, so I lived on a farm north of Pittsburgh, but while staying in Pittsburgh, most of us did stay in Pittsburgh, and two of the greatest events in recent history, not the greatest events, but a great event of Night of the Living Dead being created, of course, had something important to do with that. And also just by living in Pittsburgh and working in the film business had something to do with the greatest modern murder trial of all time, O.J. Simpson. Because when I was with George, we shot a documentary on O.J.
Thank you.
And so just staying in Pittsburgh, made another little mark. That's the film business. You never know. It's kind of tough nowadays. Every time you turn around, you're just doing something over and over again, repeating the movies that were hits. And, hopefully, with all these youngsters using video and digital editing and so forth, that they'll be able to come up with something new, more creative. We can just hope and keep our fingers crossed. Genre, as far as zombies are concerned, I think will go on forever. Vampires will go on forever. Horror will go on forever. I wish that westerns would come back, but no, I think the horror genre is going to be forever. They'll never go on. Gather my family around me to say goodbye.